Good morning, natural gas. It's Wednesday, June the 10th, 2026. I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company. And for the spot July contract, we're up today. We're up to 322.30, up 8.3 cents or 2.64%. It's good news here as the temperatures are warming up into the weekend before we get some cooler weather. Also, what's up? LNG feed gas demand is up. So as you can see here today, we're chopping around the 13 and 48 period exponential moving averages, which come in exactly at 318.60 today. The RSI is turning up. So let's turn to the hourly chart. And using the pivot system, as you can see, we're above the daily pivot today, which came in at 315.5. We have pushed through first resistance, and then we're hitting second resistance at 324.5. Our high so far has been 324.90. So it's bounced off of that second resistance level. It is consolidating between the first and second resistance level. The RSI is trying to turn sideways here, possibly down. We'll see what happens here, but we are consolidating in an upward pattern. And if you notice going back to the daily chart, you can see from April the 30th, we've got a series of higher lows and higher highs. So that is good news for natural gas. It needs sustained heat, but we're not going to get that just yet. And here's the front to back spread, Jan versus the October, the injection spread here. And as you can see, we're down 4.4 cents here to 117.6, 17.5 right now. And of course, we're below that 125 area. We were talking about that. Our next level of support, 106.30 to 108.40. And let's take a look at the power grid. And you can see there's been some spikes up here in PJM, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland. And of course, over here in ERCOT, it's sitting down at very low levels around $22 per megawatt. So low levels here for everybody except for PJM and MISO, as well as up here in Ontario. So that's interesting news because the heat is going to start building up in that direction. And let's turn to ERCOT because we've got plenty of renewable capacity here today with plenty of sunshine and a little bit of wind pushing through as well. So it means that renewables are going to be pushing up near 40, almost 50,000, looks like here, megawatts of capacity. And our peak today for the ERCOT system, just around 78,500 megawatts. So natural gas is going to struggle to gain market share against wind, solar, and nuclear today. And as you can see right now, it is only 30% of the fuel mix. Let's turn to the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook. And again, we're getting some above normal temperatures starting to expand in the southeast and parts of Texas, but that below normal is just hanging around the upper Midwest and keeping everything near normal below it. And let's take a look at the weather maps here. We'll start it up again. It's going pretty quick here. And it is moving through, as you can see here, that temperatures start to push into the 90s here across the southern grid. And you start to see 111 here down in Phoenix, Arizona, Central Valley, 107. This is the Euro model. I wanted to show you that because the GFS has been a little bit warmer than the Euro, but here's the Euro showing some very warm temperatures as we go through the forecast period. And as you can see again, 90s pushing up into Nebraska here as we get through the forecast period. Yes, we don't have a lot of people up in there, but as you can see, we start to see 90-degree temperatures creeping up the East Coast here, up into the Carolinas, up into the upper Midwest, across the desert Southwest. So these are good signs that summer is starting to come in, at least in the heat. We need to see it past the 8 to 14-day period. Let's take a look at that heat risk. And as you can see right now, we've got extreme heat risk across the Oklahoma-Kansas border area, parts of Arkansas into Mississippi. This gets more and more extreme as we go through the forecast period here. You can see those warmer temperatures starting to show up Thursday, Friday across the East Coast. And then into Saturday, we start seeing 1.3 million people are affected by extreme heat risk here. This is South Carolina, North Carolina, Louisiana, parts of Mississippi. This goes into Sunday, 1.2 million still. Again, South Carolina, North Carolina as well. But then that eases up as we get into Tuesday here. As you can see, most of that major heat risk is only in Florida at that time. And here's Europe. As you can see, this is a temperature anomaly map here. It gets warmer, then we get some cooler temperatures coming in tomorrow, as we go through the forecast period here. This is June the 11th here. So the weekend for Europe, parts of Germany, Poland are going to be below normal. And then we start seeing some warmer temperatures show back up here toward the 15th, 16th, 17th. So the Iberian Peninsula into France, into Germany, of course, Italy, and all the way over into Greece, starting to warm up here after a brief cool down. Let's talk about European storage. Overall, it's about 42.5% full. Our problem child is no longer the Netherlands, it's the United Kingdom. It actually is the worst. Yes, Sweden shows up here at 10%, but it really doesn't have any underground storage, only really one test facility. But the United Kingdom has storage, and it is the weakest one across the EU right now. And let's take a look at Asia. Same thing here. This is the temperature anomaly map here. We get some cooler temperatures moving through the forecast period right now into the weekend. And then we start seeing some warmer temperatures also show back up again. So we can see that Europe and Asia are basically similar to the timing of warmer temperatures. Let's take a look at the LNG marker. This is the JKM, Japan Korea marker here. And as you can see, it's starting to ease up a little bit here right now, starting to show some signs of weakness. We may see a pullback. Why? Because some LNG tankers are rumored to be getting through the Strait of Hormuz by turning off their transmitters. That's right, we've got at least 7 to 9 LNG tankers that have transited the Strait of Hormuz by turning off those transponders. And let's take a look at LNG. And here is Golden Pass. We had the Barzan that was docked at Golden Pass is now exiting and moving out of Sabine Pass itself from the Texas-Louisiana border. What else is going on? Well, over at Qatar, we've got one LNG tanker that is sitting at the dock here. And this is the Salah, I guess I can't pronounce this, but it's sitting there at the dock. It may be loading up here at Las Rafan. And what else is going on? Well, we've got that Russian Icebreaker LNG tanker has made it through the Strait, actually here, the Bering Straits, and is pushing through along the coast of Russia right now. And this is right here, the Christoph. And as you can see, it is pushing off the east coast of Russia, heading toward Asia. We don't know where it's going, but this is an Icebreaker class LNG tanker. We'll keep a careful eye on that. And some good news here at Golden Pass. We're up to 111,000 MMBTUs in train one capacity is total of 800 to 850,000. So it is starting to ramp up out of maintenance. That's good news for Golden Pass. How about Cameron? Well, it's up near total capacity, 1.467 out of 1.56. That's pretty good utilization. Freeport, though, still doing some maintenance here, only over just about 1.2. And so there's still plenty of capacity there at Freeport. But Creole Trail feeding Sabine Pass LNG, well, that's near 100% capacity utilization here. Only 127,000 MMBTUs open of design capacity. And here is Corpus Christi coming out of that Sinton compressor station work. Currently, right now, almost 2.5 BCF out of 2.75. So doing extremely well. So LNG overall is now 17 BCF of feed gas demand. And here is Trans-Cameron Pipeline feeding Calcasieu Pass, Venture Global's facility. And as you can see, still has some capacity open from total design capacity, currently running right now just over 1.51 BCF. And here's Plaquemines, again, running over nameplate capacity at 2.977. That's good news for Venture Global, pushing more and more volume out at Plaquemines. Let's turn to the tropics, and look what we got. We've got a low chance of development here of a storm system somewhere around the Bay of Campeche, but then that should move inland into Mexico or southern Texas. So we'll keep a careful eye on this, but this is the first sign of any storm here in the Atlantic season. So let's take a look at why the mid-Atlantic is quiet. Yep, the Saharan air layer. That dust is just pushing through, and it is going to go push through into the Gulf here. And as you can see, even more of that dust is about to come off the coast and push into the mid-Atlantic. Similar to last year, dust inhibited any mid-Atlantic storm until very late in the season. And let's take a look at El Nino. That's right. This is the sea surface temperature anomalies. And as you can see, this lower map here, you can start to see the warmer temperatures off the coast here of South America. This is Ecuador, Peru. And as you can see, that is starting to show signs of that developing El Nino. So these are the sea surface temperatures. Yes, they're warm off of Papua New Guinea. Yes, they're warm off of Mexico, but the anomalies are showing that this is going to start moving east and starting to anchor here in the midsection and all the way back into Peru and Ecuador. How about our stocks? Well, this is the oil and gas E&P sector. Stocks between $2 and $10 billion have a high short float over 10%. And look who's in the mix, Matador Resources. So it's a sea of green across the natural gas and oil stocks that we're looking at here. So good news here as both crude and natural gas are higher on the day. So again, recapping here, July natural gas is trading at $3.22.5, up 8.5 cents or 2.71%. The RSI is trying to turn higher. And again, we've had a series of higher lows, higher highs since April the 30th. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.